I wish that I could have knocked him out at the start. Jake has spirit. He has some heart. He tried his best, and I take my hat off to him because, number one, a lot of fighters haven't got in the ring with me, and Jake did. And secondly, even when he got knocked down, he kept on trying to get up.
I'm retiring from boxing. I'm getting hit in the face every single day.
Anthony Joshua didn't mock or dismiss Jake Paul after a shocking announcement. Instead, he showed respect. Jake revealed that he is stepping away from boxing after a brutal knockout that broke his jaw. When asked for his reaction, Joshua spoke in a supportive tone. He praised Jake's fighting spirit, noting the courage it takes to step into the ring, especially for someone without a traditional boxing background. Joshua said that while criticism is part of boxing, respect is earned by having the heart to try, and Jake Paul has shown that.
In the ring at 100 miles an hour. There's two things I would have done. Tried to shut Jake down at 100 miles an hour, or I would have gone on the back foot. So Jake decided to move around the ring, and I decided to put the pressure on. What I could have done better is a lot of things. 100%. In the fight game, you've seen the amazing fighters that have graced us over the last 100 years, and the expectations that we put on ourselves are immense, but I tried my best. Jake done well while it lasted, but if you remember what I said in the interview with Cameron is, fighting's not just physical, it's psychological. And when you understand the psychological warfare, I did say to you is that, Jake, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna see a time when I'm gonna take your soul and you're either gonna give up or you're gonna get knocked out. And unless you have that instinct, you just will never be a good fighter. So I wish that I could have knocked him out at the start. But as we saw tonight, Jake...
Eddie Hearn, on the other hand, stuck to his earlier prediction but expressed it more seriously after the fight. He said the results sadly proved his point. A broken jaw isn't just painful, it's also very hard to recover from, both physically and mentally. Hearn explained that time away from training, fear of re-injury, and loss of rhythm can affect a boxer's career long-term. He acknowledged Jake's toughness but emphasized that boxing is a ruthless sport. Experiences like this often make fighters question if the risk is worth it.
Follow it too, because when this fight was first announced, you had said something to the effect of this would end Jake Paul's career. After what you saw tonight, do you think that Jake should continue to box, or what do you think the future holds for him?
Yeah, I really take my hat off. I mean, we have to see if it is a broken jaw. Those injuries are very difficult to come back from. But as AJ said, like that last shot would have knocked out a lot of heavyweights. And I know he went down heavy, but you know, he was conscious on the floor. And I thought his game plan, although obviously very negative early on, which it had to be, was smart at times. And there were times where he held his feet and let his hands go. You know, it was a very one-sided fight. It was always going to be a one-sided fight. But you can't give him anything but credit and respect. There's a lot of negative people out there. There's a lot of people who want to criticise people. They're not doing what Jake Paul's done. He just went in with Anthony Joshua and gave it his best shot. Took a lot of punishment and ended the fight.
Jake Paul's plan against Anthony Joshua focused on movement, speed, and avoiding Joshua's powerful punches. Before the fight, Paul said he would use his agility, keep circling, maintain distance, and make Joshua chase him. The goal was to frustrate Joshua and survive all 8 rounds. Paul and his team relied on cardio, footwork, and angles instead of trying to go head-to-head with a heavier, more experienced fighter.
From both guys from round one. Jake was very mobile, happy feet going. He was circling around the outside of the ring. He was not looking to engage in elongated combinations. He was not looking to stand in the center of the ring with AJ, and people are going to say Jake ran from AJ, and you're right. Because guess why? He absolutely had to. Again, we talked about this in the build-up to the fight. He had to be mobile. He had to be on his bike. So yes, you're justified in saying Jake ran from him because he had to. He had to. And anybody that convinced themselves that Jake was going to walk to the center of the ring, stand in the phone booth with AJ and trade punches until someone laid flat, you were lying to yourself, or you convinced yourself of something you saw in the promo. This was always going to be the way the fight went. I wasn't surprised at all that this is the way that Jake started and pretty much fought the entire time. I was a bit surprised that AJ didn't assert himself earlier. Now, again, it is very hard to hurt someone that doesn't want to in a continuous fight. Round 1, very much a feeling out process for AJ. Didn't really look like he did much, but Jake didn't either. There was one right hand that AJ landed in the first round that shook Jake up. That's the danger that was coming for Jake the entirety of the fight. The second and third rounds were pretty much the same, a bit of a mixed bag in terms of Jake tried to get on his jab more. He did land some jabs that snapped the head back of AJ and landed some right hands, but this was all calculated risk for AJ as well, because he knew as long as he turned that faucet on and let the water run and let it fill up the sink and never turned the faucet off, that eventually he would drown Jake, right? So every round it was pressure, front foot, front foot, front foot, and AJ strategically breaking down Jake's gas tank. I will say I'm pretty let down by the fact that AJ didn't cut the ring. I was shocked that he didn't go to the body more. I was shocked that he didn't set up his punches more, didn't get his head off the center line more. It was not a great performance from AJ. Had just come off a loss. AJ had just come off surgery. I'm not making excuses, but
Nikki Sabadarian defended Jake Paul after the fight, saying the loss didn't erase what actually happened in the ring. She noted that Jake followed his game plan perfectly, round by round. Boxing is unforgiving. One mistake or one clean hit can change everything, but tactically, Jake did exactly what he was supposed to do, showing discipline, preparation, and growth despite the tough result.
Victory because he expected to win. I do think he showed who he is as a fighter. I think he deployed the strategy that he was very clear about going into, that he was going to look to make AJ miss, and AJ missed a number of times. And ultimately, I think the weight of AJ caught up to Jake Paul. If you look at the first 3 rounds, AJ wasn't really able to touch him. But when AJ was in a clinch with him a couple of times, pushed down on the back of his neck, pushed down on the back of his head, got him to the ground. There was a few times where Jake looked like he was going for a takedown. Again, that was Jake trying to engage in the clinch, and AJ smartly moved back. In one instance, I think it was the 5th round, Jake engaged for a clinch, AJ moved back and started punching down on Jake's back. So all of those things kind of deteriorated or emptied Jake's gas tank a lot earlier than I think he expected it to. But overall, I thought he deployed his game plan well for the first 5 rounds and actually had some success. He even moved AJ back a few times, 1 by just jabbing in the air, and 2, when he caught him, he moved AJ back.
I'm just happy he's safe. I've always been proud of him. I speak constantly from the rooftops to mountaintops with my car when I'm moving in the street. Respect Jake Paul. That was the #1 trending thing on Twitter about an hour ago. Respect to Jake Paul. So I'm just thrilled.
With how it went tonight, obviously you guys came in here and you actually did, like, deluded or not what people will say, people believed that Jake Paul could do something crazy tonight. Did you truly believe from the beginning that he might pull it off?
So he 100% believed unequivocally that he was going to win. And I talked about that with him, afterwards when he was getting showered up. He knew it was high risk, high reward. He had to land something big, but he felt like he could. My view was it was going to be very hard, but it could happen, right? And there was moments in that fight where I was like, holy shit, this kid's getting him a little bit. So, when I spoke about no matter what,